Raw. That's a bit quick, with it? Hi, good evening. Good evening. I'm Lavanja. This is the Arsenal Lounge. I'm here with my usual co-host Shaheen, but we have a very special guest on today. We were excited about having on. Let's say hello to our man Turkish. How you doing?
How's it going, Lev? I don't think I'm that special, but yeah, appreciate the entry.
we
Man,
got
you're a
we got
special
we got to
man.
make you feel special, man. Yeah, yeah. You've
Gas
come
me up a
into
bit.
you've come into our lounge. Yeah, man. That's it. Gas you up. Gas you
It's
up.
it's true. That's a
So,
nice little
guys,
intro as
listen.
well. I like the logo.
I don't know. It's a
It is
bit too quick for me, man. Can we see that again? Can you do it again? This is our new logo. We're going to be coming up with an intro with it as well. But hit
1
us with it again
second.
because that was way quick for my life. Come on. Nah, that was nothing. That was blanking, man. That was blanking. Is that what you're
No,
giving me?
that's
Anyway,
as, that's,
I, I,
that's as good as you're gonna get now.
I hope your cannon at home works better than that, Shaheen. Right, so there's a few people in here already that there's a few people already in here that I recognize. Old School Gooner, Evening, Beast Titan. I don't know what you're going to come up with today. Flav Loops, Turkish is the realist. We got Liam Talks Football, big up Turkish. So already, you've got Turkish on today, guys. So any questions coming, feel free, hit us up. So we might as well just go straight into this because let's be honest, it's a bit obvious what we're going to talk about today. But the transfer window. So it started off pretty quick. We went in with the likes of Willian, Ceballos on loan, very quickly got him back in. Then we went in with Gabriel, and everyone was sort of, as Turkish would say, gassed. We were all gassed. We're thinking we're going to hit hard here, and then suddenly it died down for a while, and the pressure started to build up. The fan base divided that started to come back into play. People were like questioning what the board were going to do, but then we had a lovely ending. So, guys, I mean, I want to touch on this. Let's talk about it. I'll put this to you first, Turkish. How do you think the window went after all of the sort of calamity in between and the way it's ended since?
I think it's a pretty typical window from what we've expected over years. We tend to fuck around in different ways every summer, whether that's getting one player in early and then not getting someone else in for the rest of the window, or focusing on one player for too long and missing out on others, or wait until the last week of the window. We've done it all. Our manager came in on the last day of the window, deadline day, as a football player. And if we think back, it was off the back of an 8-2 loss to United and another transfer window where we haven't been proactive enough. This one here, listen, moving into the summer, Liv, Shaheen, you can agree and disagree too, but it's the bare minimum would have been one midfielder and one centre back. That would have been the bare minimum we expect. Yeah. On top of that, we probably would have expected a bare minimum of 3 to 4 players leaving the club. Now, if you look at the bare minimum that happened, it was a defender, a midfielder, and a couple of exits. You can add Willian in that as some maybe the cherry on the cake that they gave us. But in essence, they've done the bare minimum again. They just saved it till the end. And that's what, can win over fans, because as much as we can look back and remember how this transfer window went and how slow it was and how messy it was at times, everyone's just going to remember the last thing that happened, which is Thomas Partey on deadline day. We've got Man City away next, and I think we need to kind of manage our expectations a bit and see how that game comes forward, see how Arteta does see the team playing with Partey in there. And then we can analyze the window a bit better. But if we're talking about the whole window, I can only give it a 6 out of 10. Obviously, if we're talking about deadline day and getting Thomas Partey in, it was a massive day, because that would have been my number one target moving into the summer. But that doesn't mean I don't have a bunch of people that you need to bring in with that number one target, which we failed to do. So it's a double-edged sword, man. In some ways, I look at it, I'm happy because I wanted Partey. Similar to last season, I wanted Pepe. But in other ways, similar to last season, I look at it and it's not the right business again, or it's not the business that needed to be done. It was right business, but not the business that needed to be done.
Well, look, I'll come back to you on that because I will be asking you where you think we are lacking in the window, where we should have gone, because that's an interesting subject matter for me. I mean, you could argue the case that maybe this Partey last minute was it to silence the critics, Was it always planned? We'll touch a bit. We got a super chat from Aaron Benjamin. So thanks for the support, Aaron. Been looking forward to this show with Turkish from Monday. Where is Lee? Lee will be on. He's retweeted the show. He's put out something to say that he had sort of a prior engagement, something that he had to sort of attend. He will be here next week. So keep tuning in, and we'll see Lee next week as well. But Shaheen, obviously we've heard what Turkish has to say. I don't want to go too much into the details of who we could have got yet, and we'll look at the players individually and what they might add to the team. What's your thoughts? Turkish is giving it a 6, so he's not messing around. He's still got some things that he feels missing. What do you think?
No, I have to agree with him. Again, it's lastminute.com, a bit of a panic, 5 minutes to go, get players in. Well, we had such a long time to get these things done. And the transfer window is 2 parts. One part is incoming, one part is outgoing. And I think Turkish has been generous, I think, with the 6 that he's given them, because I'll give them a 5.
Boy, you guys are harsh today.
Yeah, well, listen, the club, Arteta, the club, I would say, have come out a few times and they said, Asim Oa is our number 1 target. So they failed to get the number 1 target. And then I preferred Thomas Partey over Oa anyway, because I think that's what we need more than Oa. So that they've done all right getting Thomas Partey. And the way as there are certain things about the Thomas Partey deal that I like, because I think for the first time Arsenal have been not nice about this, and they've gone and done what they needed to do in order that they go straight to the Spanish La Liga. They paid the money to them, no communication with Atletico, and they got the player that we needed to get. So I like that about the deal. Why it was left last minute, why they couldn't have done that earlier is a different thing. And the other half is getting rid of players, and unfortunately we haven't been able to get rid of the players that we need to get rid of, unfortunately. Matthew Guendouzi, it's quite clear he's not part of our Arteta's plan. Why wasn't he sold to raise money? However much we could have got rid of him. Torreira, why loan him out with no obligation? These are deals that you think, why? Could these not have been sold, raised money? Maybe we could have got Owa in as well. So yeah, that's my view on it.
So what do you rate it? If you said 5, yeah? Is that what you say?
Yeah,
5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'll say this. I'm going to try and sort of be, play devil's advocate, sort of be the flip side. So some could argue that we've strengthened the spine quite a bit. You've got Gabriel, obviously you got Leno back, so you got Gabriel in the centre back. You now have Thomas Partey in centre mid, which is something we were crying out for ages. And then you got sort of Aubameyang if you play him down the middle, which I think we should, but that's another subject entirely. So you could say we've strengthened the spine, right? But let's go through it. So we've got Willian, Gabriel, Ceballos, Partey, right?
Hold on. Let me help you out with this.
Go on. Oh yeah, you're coming out with something snazzy.
Here we go.
Keep them coming in the chats as well, yeah? Let us know what you rate the window as, and we'll be coming back to you and we'll bring up some of your chats. So, look at this. But you got it right in front of Turkish's face, yeah? Is there anything you can do to move it to the side? He's hiding behind it. Oh my God. All right, let's move it quick then, yeah? Because my man's covered. There you go. Right. So we know who we got in, we know who we got out. You can give us the stats and the figures if you really want to, Shaheen, right? But look,
I know it's going to cover Turkish, but I've got in terms of the monies that was generated and spent and so I'll put those on quite quickly, just so we could see it when we come to it. So I'll leave, because this is just a list of players now incoming and outgoing, so we'll leave that for now.
All right. So look, Willian, Gabriel, Ceballos, Partey. Well, we obviously know what the Ceballos situation was. He played last season. I think Arteta thought, you know what, I don't have to train someone else up to play in our system in that midfield. I'd rather bring him in. He's a ball distributor. He's neat and tidy, transition sometimes. So, I mean, we know what Ceballos brings. Willian, Gabriel, Partey, what do you think they bring to the team? And, for example, Partey, right? Does he drop Xhaka? Or does he play Partey with Xhaka? Or does he go Partey, Ceballos, Saka? I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, guys. So, Turkish, I'll throw this over to you, bro.
Partey definitely starts alongside this. If it's my choice, it would be Ceballos, because I think that's probably the best combination we can do. But at the same time, we've saw so far this season that we've done Ceballos El Nene, we've done Xhaka El Nene, we've done Xhaka Ceballos. So I can't even say who is before Partey, Arteta's number one central midfielder. I'd go with Ceballos because I think what Partey brings, Ceballos can add to. Whereas what Xhaka brings, it doesn't really add to what Partey brings. In essence, it kind of brings something that can release Partey a bit more. But in terms of what we need on the pitch, I think we potentially should be looking at Partey releasing up Ceballos a bit more next to him. Regarding overall, when I look at the midfielders, I think you guys know that I look at them all the same. And by the same, I mean, I understand they have different skill sets, but if you're going to put them into a bucket in terms of quality, they're all going to go into the same bucket. Ceballos, Xhaka, El Nene, all of them. There's not much to choose between them yet, especially over the past year or two. So it'll be interesting to see whether he even sticks with the two pivot or the three, or if he goes back to a three. And that's something else too, because if he goes to a three, I'd be saying Partey, Ceballos, and Saka as our attacking mid. But yeah, either way, Ceballos, Partey, pivot.
I agree with you on that, because obviously not getting Hwassimore is going to make him rethink things, and he's got to look at who we can put in those sort of more attacking midfield type roles. Saka is potentially an option. Willian's an option. Maybe even Pepe. They were saying like more on that cam role. I've heard from certain people that he can play in that position. I don't know, but yeah, I definitely think it would be Partey, Ceballos, Saka for me. Xhaka slows things down.
Sorry, Lev, but like with Pepe, is Pepe's position by far he's best on the wing. We haven't seen his best, but by far his best position is out wide on the wing. Now, what we've kind of lacked since Pepe's come is someone in the middle that can work with him. It's also it's also a consistent striker to work with too. Sometimes it's Laka, sometimes it's Eddie, and sometimes Engage Oba comes over into the middle. He hasn't really had the time to build bonds on the pitch. He's been in and out the first team too. But if we're to move to a free, I think that suits him, especially if the person attacking mid would have been might be a Saka, for example, because Saka's got great football knowledge. He's still very young, but he's very mature. I think. Look at Pepe's goal. Bellerin was in that attacking midfielder position. So he had someone to pass it into, run off of, and get it back. And that's what Pepe is great at. He needs that person there that knows what they're doing and can draw in a defender and put him one-on-one. And if we can get that shape right, Pepe will excel from the right-hand side. So this AM thing that people are saying, people are just panicking that it hasn't worked out so far with Pepe and trying to fit him in somewhere else. People will see eventually. I'm still confident on Pepe, definitely.
Well, I mean, Shaheen will confirm this. The last few shows we've discussed this. I spotted a few weeks back that Pepe was making runs. He was making runs down the wing, and he weren't getting picked out, not early enough. And he was having to come back again. He would make another run, and no one was unlocking him. And then he receives the ball with two men on him. And then we expect him to beat two men and do something, and everyone starts getting frustrated. So I agree with you on that. Had we got a Hwassimore or something, it would have unlocked him. I do think Saka's potentially got he has got the potential to play there. I think Arteta does see that. I think you might be right. Let's keep our fingers crossed. We'll come back to you guys in the chat in a minute. Shaheen, you've heard, obviously, we've spoken about, what about Gabriel at the back? And, what's your first sort of thoughts on Gabriel, having seen him come in and over a couple of games?
Me and you had quite a few conversations. I wasn't sure when Gabriel came in, because if you look at previous records, he's basically had about a season and a half that he's done really well. And prior to that, he's been on loan at a few different clubs. So I was thinking, is he the guy that is going to come in and solve the problem? But he's come in and he's done really well. I've liked what I've seen from him. I'm a bit surprised why he didn't start against Liverpool. I'm not. Yeah. Is that? Are they thinking, well, he's not ready on that sort of level yet? Or I didn't understand that one. But so far, he's done really well. And I think, just going back to the subject, I think Arteta might try to do something with Willian and an attacking midfielder position as well. Possibly with Pepe on the wide, maybe Aubameyang on the left, or Lacazette up front, or Aubameyang up front, Saka on the left. But I'm very happy that we've got Thomas Partey in, because this was a position that was never addressed after Patrick Vieira. Torreira was brought in, and we all hoped that he would never have been a Patrick Vieira, but somebody who would address the problem a little bit. And unfortunately, that hasn't worked out. So Thomas Partey, hopefully, he's the type of player that I've wanted Arsenal to sign. Somebody who would come in and make a difference straight away. It's not a potential. It's not a maybe. It's not a couple of years down the line. He's a player that is going to come in and solve the problem straight away, and we go from there. So these two players, that they've done well.
Okay, good. All right, so let's go over to the chats. Anyone who's watching, please like, subscribe, turn your notifications on. I know there's people watching on Gunner Social, Facebook. If you guys are watching, you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel, show your support. It's going to have some loads of great content coming on. We've got some amazing news coming up in the next week or two.
Yeah, if you've got any questions,
I've just been my suspension of Twitter has just ended, so I retweeted the show about 5 minutes ago.
That's all right. Thank you.
Yeah, so early, you got a yellow card, yeah? One more and he's out.
Something like that. It's my first yellow on Twitter. I didn't even know what's going on. I woke up in the morning and I see an email saying your account's been reported for violating things. I'm like, what the fuck did I say now? It's stuff from
people. That's
a while ago.
Violation. All right, so let's have a look at some of these chats, please. So we got Sabi, Old School Gooner. Nice to see you, bro. Everton had the best window for me, knew what they wanted and got it straight away. Do you know what? I was going to ask this later on with regards to who we think our competition is going to be based on our signings and where we're going to end. So hold that thought. I like that. Beast Titan, this guy, man. Neg Titan, I love it though. 3 out of 10 for me, 1 for getting Partey and 2 for keeping Aubameyang. Whew. All right, fair enough. Carry on. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. We've got a few others down here as well, I can see. Beast Titan again. No, JMC, Turkish, one of the list. Right, okay. There you go. Got a fan there, Turkish. Koigi, no, mate, I can't. Koigi Najori. Well, you could do this, Turkish. You're probably better than me. Can you say that man's name? Koigi Najorij.
I think it's a silent N, so it's probably Gerard or something like that. But don't quote me on that.
I like that. Koigi Gerard. Loving that. Why don't we go Emi Buendia at Norwich? Well, that's funny because there was some sort of rumor today. I think it's absolute BS, but there was some rumor that we were going to send Saliba to Brentford and Ben Rama was going to come the other way. But I can't. Yeah. I don't know. Pepe should start games ahead of Willian. Well, we'll soon see, guys. We'll soon see. Ryan Boyce, need Martinelli fit. And here he is again, Mr. Moneybags. Who is this guy? Aaron Benjamin. Turkish, what's your thoughts on Ozil? I think he means Ozil. Ozil staying. Yeah. Oh, man. This someone knows how to get you going, innit? Go on, then. We've got long enough for this.
You can't even get me going with Mesut Ozil no more because everything I've said has come true. I wish he could have proved me wrong because, like I always say, if players or the board or the manager prove me wrong, that means Arsenal are doing good, and that will always be a win-win for me. Mesut Ozil, I'm tired of getting emotional over him. I think people see what I had to say about him. If you separate the man from the player, the man seems like he does a lot of good work outside of football. You know, no one can deny that. The charity work, speaking up for Muslims in China, even speaking out of the racism with the German national team and whatnot. I back him in every single one of these subjects, every single one to the core. They're more real subjects to me than football. If you're asking me in my private life what I care about more, it's going to be the injustice across the world. Things like the Muslims in China, for example. I care more about that than football, let's be honest. But at the same time,
humanity, man. Humanity, 100%.
Yeah, so people think I'm a hater of Ozil. People think I've got an agenda, but it's just strictly on the pitch. From what I've seen since he signed that new contract, it hasn't been good enough. And it's part and parcel now, Under Wenger, it wasn't good enough. Under Emery, he got dropped, and then under Arteta, he's been dropped too. People can talk about behind the scenes and whatnot, but at the same time, if we're talking just about his football, because people nowadays who are fans of his says he shouldn't be out of the team because it's all political. But what I want to ask those same people is, should he be in the team because of his football? No. So as much as you want to say he shouldn't be left out because of the politics, I agree with it if it is because of politics. You know, that shouldn't, that especially the Muslims in China issue. If it is because of that, then that's a massive wrong on Arsenal Football Club. But at the same time, I'll pose the question back and say, what he has produced for us since signing the contract, does it warrant another chance? And that is no, because Arteta gave him a chance, Emery gave him a chance, Wenger gave him multiple chances, and he's failed to live up to added expectation that extra wage brings, because that's what it is. When you get that extra wage, you expect more, not only a football club, but even in, let's say, whatever company you're working for. If you sign for a newer contract and upgrade in your role and upgrade in money, the next day you come in, they're going to expect you to be more productive. They're going to expect you to do more. They're going to expect you to, you know, be a lot more independent, be a lot more of a go-to type of person. But he didn't take that on. He just took the contract on. And that's where he fell on his face, in my opinion.
Well, this is why we call this show Real Talk. He's not holding back there. But like, all right, let me say something funny. Like, let me throw something back at you with this, right? Some people are saying, and you could argue they have a point, we're building a team that actually is better for Ozil, but we're not playing Ozil. Because to get the best out of Ozil, you need a strong team behind him, right? And for years, we haven't had that. The defense wasn't strong enough for years. We didn't have that Thomas Partey, that sort of DM, that strong midfield sort of enforcer. So someone like Ozil, don't expect him to track back. It's not going to happen. So you're going to a stronger team may have suited Ozil. Obviously, we know things have moved forward with the way we play football now, the tempo, the high press, all of that. So you could argue that he doesn't suit it. His style of football are maybe being phased out. But do you think that he would have been better suited to a team like this? And has he got anything to offer for the rest of this season? Because I've heard rumors that I think Socrates and Ozil may have been left out of the Europa squad. So is there a room for him? Is there any space for him, or is it done and dusted? And you guys in the chat let us know as well.
Yeah, I didn't know that. If he's been left out of the Europa League team, then it's done and dusted, because I don't see him being in the Premier League team if he's not in the Europa League team. So I assume he is done and dusted. I assume some of the comments have kind of led to this stage where before the first game of the season, when he's tweeting that he's fit to play and it's not up to him who selects the team, that's kind of a challenge to Arteta. That's basically, you know, laying down his cards and saying me versus you, let's see who wins it, similar to what he did with Emery with a few of his quotes. And I think that that's kind of pushed Arteta and probably the club as well in some way, shape or form to make this decision that he's going to, you know, sit it out for the season. So people have said that for years. People have, initially he had Cazorla behind him and that was his best time at the club. When he had Cazorla behind him, people said he didn't have runners in front of him. Then we got runners in front of him, but then he didn't have the support in behind. I understand that we did fail to build around. Yeah, and we failed to build around him properly. And I always said that I think it was December 2017, because he signed his contract January 2018. I've got an AFTV interview, December 2017, where I said the club have let Ozil down. And I stand by that. You know, that was my thoughts on that day. And that was my thoughts if I look back. They did let him down. But my thing is, Lev, now let's say this theory is true, that this team is better suited for him now. My thing is, I'd say it's better suited for an Ozil in his prime, but at the same time, is he worth 350k? Because number one, the 350k is why when he signed the contract, we couldn't build around him properly, because that 350k, yes, we bought Oba, but after that we were told we can only loan players and this and that because our wage structure is fucked, literally a year later. So part of the reason we didn't build better around him when he signed the contract is because he signed for too much, considering we are a Europa League team at the time and we wasn't getting the money. Like Josh Kroenke said, a Europa League, a Champions League budget, it's a Champions League wage bill on a Europa League budget, and that's not going to work. So even if we had all the pieces around Lev, he's still not worth that money. And you can't build the pieces around if you're paying the wrong man the top money. You know, your top man should be the role model. Your top man should be the one that people want to fight for on the pitch, want to support on the pitch, the one they look to when it is a 0-0, when they're 1-0 down, when they need someone to drag them through. Like I said, Henry, 0-0, 1-0 down, 2-0 down. You still have faith that he could drag you on his own. Forget Perez for a sec, Bergkamp. Forget all these men for a sec. Henry, you know he could do it on his own. Similar to Aguero, similar to Salah, similar to Hazard when he was at Chelsea. These are the players that you pay the top money to. Even a Virgil van Dijk, who, if the attack isn't on point, you know he's solid at the back. Forget the last few games we've seen this season, but in general, he's solid at the back. So he's even worth the money given to a top player at the club, because you can turn to these players when you need to. Ozil's never been a guy you turn to at Real Madrid, at Werder Bremen, at Germany. He's never been a guy you turn to. And that's let him down too, because he signed a contract that indicates you are the guy now. And he's never going to be the guy, and he never was going to be the guy. He added that pressure on himself. And this is why I've changed my opinion on him, because you add that pressure on yourself. I'm not going to judge you anymore as the 4th, 5th highest earner at the club. I'm going to judge you like the other highest earners in the league. And that's where he's fell down for me. He can't be compared.
Okay. All right. Well, look, we've sort of killed this Ozil thing, so let's leave Ozil now. Let's go back to the transfer thing. So why do you guys think, I'll throw this out at you, Shaheen, because I don't want to just leave you sitting there while I'm listening to Turkish give me his insight. But why do you think then, right, this whole transfer saga, we started quick and then it died down and it went right up until the end. And for me, this opened the element of doubt, the thoughts of doubt from the fan base again. And where we had this really positive sort of snowball effect into the new season, preseason, everyone's saying, look, Arteta's, won us an FA Cup. He looks like he knows what he's doing. Everyone on the pitch seems to understand his system. There's something there. We could all sense it. Why not just go out and do the business fast like Chelsea did, right? We seen Kroenke's come and underwritten and helped out finally and put some money on the table, said, go and get Thomas Partey. We were saying this from the beginning. Why not sooner? Why not just give us the money, go and get Thomas Partey, go and get Jose Moore, and wait until these outgoing sales were going? Or was it the case, which I seem to think, that we were waiting to see if we can offload some of this deadwood, so spend that money, and clearly we couldn't get rid of them, and we had to leave it last minute and go for Partey. Was Partey our first option as well? Was it Jose Moore, or were we after both? Shaheen?
Yeah, it's very interesting listening to Turkish talk about Ozil, because I've always enjoyed his take on Mesut Ozil. The only thing I'll go back on is Ozil is a very, very gifted footballer, and the contract that he's on, he didn't give that to himself. A club gave that to him out of desperation, because they lost Sanchez. They couldn't have lost Ozil, and they had to do whatever it is they needed to do at the time to get him to stay on. And I know it's a topic that is very, it's a hot topic between the fans for a very long time. I just think as a club, we should treat him maybe a little bit better and just come out and tell us fans the problems with Ozil. Why is he not playing? You're paying somebody a ridiculous amount of money every week, but we're not using him at all. Not even for league. So that's for Ozil. I'll leave him. I'll leave that at that. In terms of the transfer window, you just touched on a Kroenke coming in and spending and underwriting the deal, and I see everybody on Twitter going crazy about that. But what is he supposed to do? He's meant to do that. He should have done this a long time ago. That's his job. He's the owner. He's coming, and we need to get a player, and he's coming. He go get the player. That's his job. Why it's so bad that once
don't shoot the messenger. I was just telling you, man. I was just telling you what happened.
It's so bad that once that he's done something that he's supposed to do in the past 10 years, everybody's like, Kroenke's, everybody's now going back on their words, this and that. No, that's what he's supposed to do. He's just done his job. And also, why has he done that the year before? Another question is, why are we short of money for him to come in and say, right, here's the money, go? So we didn't even have this money. So where's the money gone? Why we don't have money? And also, if he was waiting for us to get rid of Deadwood, you've got a manager who's just won you the FA Cup. Everybody is ranting and raving about him, right? Come in and say, right, guys, what do you need? Is your number one target Asim? All right, we need him. Right, okay. And Partey, cool. Here is the money. What is just done? Go get these two players done. Get in them early doors. So manager has got time to work with them. And then then you start selling players, you can return this money that I've just invested to me over 1 year, 2 year, whatever. But get these players that this guy need, And this is more logical to me, rather than leave it on the last minute. The fan base is losing their shit. Everybody's panicking. There is pressure on him, and then he comes and does what he's supposed to do as the owner, and everybody's cheering and clapping him. No, this guy, he should have done this a long time ago. And now that he's done it, all right, cool, good, well done for doing it. But you're meant to do this. This is your job. You know, I don't understand why everybody's going OTT. Oh, Kroenke, well done, well done. No, you're supposed to do this.
Well, it's that
People
old adage, isn't it? Promise little, under promise, over deliver. So basically, we thought it wasn't going to happen. So maybe it was a PR stunt. Maybe they knew all along they were going to get Partey because they had all the personal terms already agreed from ages ago, from what I've heard.
Yeah, but we're not a PR agency. We're a football club. We just finished 8th for the first time in Premier League history. We need real investment, and yet we leave it last minute. And then everybody's now saying, "Oh, Kroenke, well done for doing what you're supposed to be doing."
Yeah, people need their head.
Well,
some of the fan base need their head checked. That's the reality of it, because they a lot of that Kroenke support all of a sudden comes because there's a lot of vocal people that want Kroenke gone. You know, there's a lot of people like me who won't look at this Partey deal and get blinded. You know, because at the end of the day, what Shaheen says is right. It's like, for example, yeah, for the last 4 years, it's like a man is taking, let's just say, 3 coins every summer, 3 coins for 4 years. They've got 12 coins. And this summer, here's 1 back. Last summer, here's 1 back with Pepe. You know, you're taking more than you're giving. So when does that line, that threshold come when you focus on us more than you focus on the Rams, or you focus on whoever, whatever else you're doing, the stadium being built and all this stuff? When does the focus turn to us? Because how I see it is, take your coins, you own the club, 3, 6, 9, 12. But when you're ready to give back, I expect 36, 48, 50, 60, 70 coins. I don't expect 1 back every 12 you take. You know, I expect the owner to eventually show some sort of passion for the club. Obviously, in America, you don't finance deals. The owner doesn't finance deals. It's very different, you know. So he doesn't really I don't think he really understood what this soccer really entails. In my opinion, I think he just bought another sports enterprise. He was probably interested in getting another asset, and what better asset than Arsenal Football Club, nearly finishing paying their stadium off and whatever else. Even last was it 4 months ago when he paid off the stadium debt and everyone started praising him. But that stadium that he paid it off with a loan against Arsenal Football Club that guess who has to pay back? Arsenal Football Club. The only thing that changed is the interest percentage which went down. So I can't praise an owner that does that, because essentially we haven't cleared the debt. He's just refinanced it and given it to us in a better rate, whilst he's used us as an asset to build up his American franchises. You know, he's just a businessman. So what Shaheen's saying is right. People jumping for joy because of Thomas Partey. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Thomas Partey, love him. He's exactly the type of player we need. But we would be fools to think that is it. And we would be fools to think that Kroenke has done enough this summer. But it does seem like there's a lot of fools in the fan base. So here we are now, you know.
Turkish, you know what's interesting here? Yeah. See, a lot of fans, unfortunately, they just see it from the outside. Oh, Kroenke paid the money. But you need to go into details. You need to study the finances of the club. Kroenke's take out £3 million a year consultation fee from Arsenal Football Club. I really want to know what the fuck they consult us on, because whatever it is that they're consulting us on, it's not working because we're just going down the hills.
That 3 million, Shaheen, that 3 million, yeah, was when he owned 30%. So now he owns 100%. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more than 3 million. But let's just say it's 3 million for the past 10 years. That's 30 million. He's basically given us his consultation fee back to pay for Partey.
Consultation on what? You know nothing. You know nothing. You've never even. I swear, if somebody sit him down and say, "Can you explain to me the offside rule?" I don't think he can explain to you what is the offside rule.
Of course not. He's a businessman. Doesn't care. We are like Waitrose or Toys R Us or fucking Currys or Macklin to him. Like, we ain't nothing but a brand, a business. We're not a team he cares about or he invests even passion in. Forget money for a sec. He's not a football man. You know, he loves his American sports. So I understand that, but get your finger out of this pie because this pie needs to, you know, start baking.
You know what? I'll tell you one thing, yeah. I'll bet you, this Thomas Partey deal was done again. He had to do this. Imagine if we didn't sign Thomas Partey.
Yeah, 100%.
Very different conversation now. Kroenke will be under enormous pressure. No one's going to come and turn on Arteta. So
Listen,
he had to do this. He's done this to save his own asset up to a certain degree.
Yeah, of course. Because at the end of the day, like,
go on. I want to hear.
No, of course. Like, at the end of the day, like you said, like a 45 million release clause for a player like Thomas Partey. Yeah, get that done straight away. Because I'm dumbfounded that United all summer, went for the wrong targets because they needed Thomas Partey to complete that three in the middle. Partey, Pogba, Fernandes. Instead, they went for Donny van der Beek. That shows lack of direction. That shows a bit of panic too. But we were lucky in that regard. Near the end, you hear Chelsea are interested. At the end of the day, we was lucky that Partey was still available at the end because without a release clause, you're not getting Partey for 45 mil. So what are we trying to negotiate? So that should have been done early to tell the fans, listen, number one target is secured in an area where we haven't replaced Vieira for 10 plus years. And then we could have been positive moving forward. And if we did make 2 deadline-based signings, we could have been like, nice, on top of Partey, it makes sense. Yeah. But now it's Partey on top of Gabriel and Willian.
Let me jump in here, boys. Right, Shaheen, I know this has riled you, clearly. And I've sat back and watched this. This is interesting stuff for me. But look, on a positive note, we have got the one guy that we've been waiting for. Like, how many years have we been waiting for this? But before we go into it anymore, let's go to some of the people in the chat because there's a lot of activity in there. Please like, please subscribe, turn your notifications on. You guys are done a social on Facebook. Please come across, subscribe to the Arsenal Lounge. There's going to be loads more content like this. So Shaheen, hit me with some of these. We had a super chat from Aaron. Was it that Mr. Benjamin again? Wasn't it as well?
Yeah.
Bring it up because we missed his super chat, man. Yes, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, because you just raised the point about we've needed Partey for so long, and that's what frustrates me even more because you're right. We've needed Partey the longest, probably the longest player we've needed since the Invincibles. But we needed centre backs when we had Cazorla and Ozil and Giroud and Sanchez and all that.
When we had a midfield.
But we was years too late. We needed strikers when we had a good midfield, but we was years too late. And by the time you fix those positions, there's other positions that need fixing. Last summer, we was crying out for defense to be fixed. It slowly looks like it's getting that way, but we fixed it. Now the midfield needs to be fixed. And by the time we fix this midfield properly, because we've missed out on the creative or War or whoever else we were interested in, Oba's contract's going to be done in 3 years. So then we're going to need to think of another star man who gets the 20 plus goals. So if we don't start moving proactive, I look back at Ozil, Sanchez and Cech. We should have done all 3 in the same summer. And now I look at Partey, Pepe, and these players, for example, they should have been done in the same summer. But one. We ain't going to get nowhere doing that.
No, I agree. I agree. I mean, look, you know the old Man United, when Ferguson used to win a title, the transfer window, straight after that title, he'd strengthen again, 2 or 3 players. He'd do it every time. There was no stopping. Yeah, 100% agree with you. We don't do that. Sometimes we've had a tendency to put a Band-Aid on heart surgery. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, we need a centre-back. Oh, go and get Silvestre. We need a centre-back. Oh, let's go and get another guy from Chelsea. What was his name? It escapes me now. But, like, it's always been sort of Band-Aids for massive surgery. And hopefully now that's changing because I think maybe Arteta is changing that philosophy. He's got an ego. I think Arteta's got an ego. And I think he doesn't want to lose. He knows Pep Guardiola and all them lot have been looking at him. His standards are high. So let's hope that's changed things. But I do want to go to the chats. I don't want to get Aaron, Benjamin and these guys because, you know, these guys are what we're here for. They're supporting us. So Old School Gooner, I've always said, how many world-class players have we got? No worries, even since we've been in the Emirates. How many did we have at Highbury, bro? 38,000 ground and world-class players versus a 61,000 ground. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Old School Gooner. We moved for the thing to actually be able to challenge. That's what we were told, right? That's the dream we were sold. Masterson 22, clearly not consulting Arsenal on gaining lucrative commercial partnerships. Our commercial revenue is the worst out of the top 6. Interesting. You can put that to the boys. The club is in a mess. We've got players we can't sell. This. You know what? Big Gunner D. This is a big problem. We could touch on. It's getting rid of that dead wood. Maximus Genitalia, otherwise known as the Big D. Yeah, Arsenal should be looking at Wendia and or Ben Rama from the EFL. I don't know. Should we be going for championship players? I don't know. You know, I'm not going to judge them. You can get good players. Also, Guna, for me to keep improving these weak positions, we need to use every window available. Because for me, need a good right back. Bellerin and Cedric ain't good enough. Right? Okay. You know, and Masterson 22 lads with the $1 billion lawsuit currently against Kroenke in America, I don't see him giving us much more money in the foreseeable future. I don't really know much about that. I'll have to look into that. Thanks for that, Masterson 22. Look, I understand there's still some problems, yeah, and I'm just trying to play, you know, I'm trying to balance the field here because I tend to agree with you guys, as you know, when we talk off camera and all of that. But at the same time, oh look, my camera's changed. I'll have to look at that. At the same time, I think there are some positives. There's a lot of dead wood we need to get rid of. So, you know, that's my concern. Does that prove that we bought really badly during that period? Like all that crap that we can't get rid of. What are we going to do with these guys? And they're all sitting there. There's two. I think there's a quota that we're over as well, isn't there? That two players need to be got rid of. So how are we going to do that?
It's easy. There's a few out of favour with Mesut Ozil being one of them, and probably Socrates and Mustafi being the other, because we've got 8 centre backs. It just shows the mismanagement of the club. Even that alone, even going into the season with 19 non-homegrown when you can only have 17, shows mismanagement. You know, people can say it's difficult to sell players and this and that, but at the same time, you've seen other teams do it. You know, and who was it that said something about we could have done better business? One of the chats you read out in terms of from old school Guna, for me to keep improving these weak positions, we need to use every window available. And with Bellerin and Cedric, you saw a top right back from the league in the last couple of years go for 13 mil to Tottenham. You know, you could have taken that man for 13 mil, who's an Arsenal fan, sold 2 of your right backs, made potentially 30, 35 mil off them, you know, because Bellerin is still some sort of a name that people still have some sort of faith in. And you make money and improve a position. You know, same with Eddie Nketiah. You look at Ryan Brewster leaving for 23.5 mil. We could have got 20 to 25 mil for Eddie Nketiah if we had some nous in the boardroom or the people running the transfers. And then you get 25 for Eddie. You push Oba up top with Laka behind. You put Saka left wing. You start seeing some depth in these other positions and more balance. And then you've got money left over to do some business. And I'm not paid to do this fucking job. But I look back at the transfer window and see some of these names, yeah, and I think to myself that, like, we could have done much better. Hence why I give it a 6 out of 10. I think Lev's quickly gone for a toilet break, so it's me and Shaheen now, but it is what it is.
No, I think he's gone through his camera. No, I 100% agree with you, Turkish. And some of these players, they were purchased out of desperation, right? Like Mustafi, £35 million from Mustafi, right? And on salary, and Mustafi next year is on the last year of the contract. So who's going to come and buy Mustafi next year, contract finishing? And you know, another thing, I said this a couple of weeks ago as well. I read somewhere that the 3 players that they refused pay rise was Ozil, Socrates, and Martinelli, right? And the fact that Martinelli and Socrates and Ozil are now being included in a squad is obviously, maybe that is true. That is those players who refuse that. Also, Socrates, Mustafi, Holding, Chambers, Saliba, Luiz. You got 7 centre backs, right? And we couldn't.
How many of them are good though, Shaheen? How many of them are good though?
Yeah, but irrelevant of how good they are. But we couldn't even get rid of one. We bought one for 30 million last year to apparently come in, but he's coming. He can't get a game now. £30 million spent on a potential, right? But you know, you're right when you're saying these players. You know, not a lot. There were talk about what's his name, Socrates going to Lazio to replace Koulibaly. Like, if it was anything near Koulibaly, we would have kept him. So I never bought that rumor, and then it just shows something that there is a reason that we can't get rid of these players. You know, high salary, Kolasinac, 10 million euros for Bayer Leverkusen, and we still couldn't do this. We still couldn't get rid of him. So, you know, and you think all of these guys that we paid transfer fees, salaries for, they're going to end up walk away for free. And then you have to ask the question, who's responsible for this? Ultimately, the buck stops with the owner, because the owner's job is to create and build a winning football team. And we all know how that has worked out so far.
Well, this is my problem. I was having a go. Look, when it comes to the fan base, my issue with the fan base is this, right? I don't have a problem with anyone going for the board. Even now, even with this recent transfer window, I don't have a problem with anyone going for the board. But it makes absolutely no sense, and I'll see loads of different accounts doing it, especially for views, for subs, whatever it is that they do it for. They're attacking the manager. You can't punish him for what went on before. You know, you can't do that, and I don't see any sense in infecting that. But he has a job to do. We need to trust him to do it. But this is a problem for him, and he's not going to be able to get rid of all of this dead wood in one window. I don't even know if we'll be able to get rid of any of them, and whether we just need to let their contracts expire because they're that bad. So, I mean, you know, you always said about the Saliba thing. We spent 30 million, but he's not ready to play, and he's not going to be ready to play. So it is a problem.
Championship club. That 30 million pounds and 8 million pounds was spent on Luis. 38 million pounds. We could have got a proper centre back in last year for that money, right? A problem that needed addressing. 38 million pounds. If Stan Kroenke can come now and you know, and give his blessing per se, money wise for signing, could he not have come and said, right, you got 30 million last year. How much you short to sign somebody like Upper Moncano? Right, go get the guy. But no, we don't do that, do we?
Bring up the big D. Bring up Maximus Genitalia.
Yeah, the big D. Yeah, the Maximus Genitalia.
Do you know how many people say this to me? Do you know how many people say, "Oh, because PSG and Juventus were linked with Bellerin, it must mean he's good"? People forget that Stokes right back went to PSG and got released this summer and is going to Bayern Munich next. People forget that when Xhaka was on his way out of the club, it was only Hertha Berlin that wanted him. You know. At the same time, the team that are interested in you doesn't tell you the quality of the player, because that team doesn't really know, you know, what we know as fans, week in, week out, behind the scenes, everything, you know. At the same time, Bellerin still has a buzz because he had that, you know, early 2 years when he really shot onto the scene. But because PSG and Juventus want you, I don't give a shit. You know, Juventus wanted Ramsey last summer, and the next summer they wanted him out. So that, I don't care. I don't care what clubs want you. Like, that doesn't matter to me. If those clubs want you, surely we should be able to get some sort of money for you. So it shows. And when you hear PSG only wanted him on loan, yeah, we could get into, oh, if he's so good, why was it only a loan they offered? You know, at 25 years of age, PSG have money stacked up. You know, if they really wanted Bellerin, they would have got him.
That's exactly my point. If they wanted Bellerin, if Barcelona wanted him back or whatever, they would have just come in, paid the money. I'm sure Arsenal would have done the deal. But nobody has come in for them. You know, we're a club that are desperate for money, and it's quite open out there that we're ready. We'll do deals for our players because we need to raise funds, because we've got our owner who is...
Take a deep breath, Shaheen. Listen. Let me say something, right? Let me say something. We need to move this forward a little bit from here. I know you're getting frustrated with this whole situation. Big D, I know you're hitting us with Bellerin has created more chances than our entire midfield. Well, that's not really difficult when you don't have a very creative midfield, is it?
Especially,
on top of that, you could argue he was at fault for two of those goals. The two of the last goals against Liverpool, he was at fault, I reckon. 3. You've gone 3, yeah? Even the one that Leno parried out.
The first one, you can blame Tierney, you can blame Leno, you can blame Bellerin. The second one, you can blame Bellerin, you can blame Willian. The third one, you can blame Bellerin because he could have closed down Jota a lot quicker. He ran to him, stopped 2 yards and allowed the space for the shot. You close him down and clatter him. It's outside the box. You give away a foul, at least you stop the shot. He had a part to play in all 3 goals conceded. I'm not blaming him completely, but if you've got a part to play in all 3, there's problems. Big problems. And I don't believe that he's created the top 3 most chances in Europe for right wing back, because if you add right back into that situation, he definitely has not. And that's just off the top of my head, because Trent Alexander-Arnold is one in the Premier League that definitely has created more chances. Doherty is probably another, and Aurier is probably another.
Can I double check something? Against Liverpool, was it once or twice that he got done for foul throw?
Twice. Oh, add that.
Oh,
to,
yeah,
add that
yeah,
to the
yeah.
list. PSG and Juventus won him, but he can't fucking do a throw.
What's that all about?
That's probably why PSG didn't come and sign him.
He's probably got the most foul
'cause of the
throws
foul
in Europe as well. He's number 1 in Europe for foul throws right now. So yeah.
Ooh. Big D, Big D. What you got to say about that? Real talk here. That's what this show's called. Right. Any other questions? Hit us with it. But look, old school Gooner, Zoolander. Don't know if I like using that term, Zoolander. Let's just say Bellerin is too worried about untucking his shirt from his shorts when taking throw-ins. Can't stand him. The guy is a knob. Fair enough. Look, we'll just leave that for a second. What I want to do is try and move it forward a little bit positive because we've got about 10 minutes, right? So, all right, we've talked about all of this so far. We've heard your thoughts. Shaheen got very animated when he heard about Kroenke. Is something Kroenke is a buzzword for Shaheen. It hits him very hard, like maybe Ozil did with Turkish a year or so back. But look, let's move this forward. Okay, so based on the signings we got now, where do you see it taking us? Now that we've got Partey, now we've got Gabriel, who's, for me, I love the look of Gabriel. He's aggressive. He believes in his own physicality. One-on-ones very rarely gets, beaten. And then I prefer to have a Aubameyang in the middle and maybe get some width in there now. Where do you see us going with this current team? What position do you see us finishing?
Who's that to? Me or Cheyenne?
Either of you boys. I'll go Turkish. Go first, bro. Look, we're playing a bit of tennis here.
And I always said if we sign both, then I'm confident for top 4. But with one, we're a contender for top 4. And the only reason I think we're a contender is because United, Chelsea, Tottenham have been a bit indifferent. Even Liverpool and City have been indifferent so far. So that gives me hope that towards the end of the season, there might be some sort of light at the end of this tunnel, even following the transfer window, which I don't think is good enough. But it makes us a contender for top 4. And that's about it for me. You can't say hand on heart that we will make top 4 off the back of Partey. That's just how I see it. I'm more hopeful, but at the same time, I'm not a fool to think that this can't all crumble away at the flick of a switch.
Okay. So you reckon potentially top 4, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Shaheen?
Go on.
Yeah, what I said is before Partey, I said 5th to 9th. Yeah. After Partey, I say 4th to 7th. So it's not a big jump, but it makes that jump into top 4. So 5th to 9th before Partey, 4th to 7th with him. So that's how I'm seeing it. If we can get Ben Rama or Buendia, who I'm not against, because you didn't do the business in the European window, if you can get one of these lot in at a good price, bring them in. With Saliba, it doesn't make sense to loan him to Norwich because you don't want to bring a French guy who just lost his mum, 19 years of age, and send him to Norwich alone. Brentford can work because Brentford, you can stay where you are in and around the team and the people that you know at Arsenal, but still play for them. So there is something we can do. It's a big risk, but it's the risk that they should take because they didn't do it properly in the transfer window.
Okay. Yeah. Shaheen?
Just before you do, I want to clarify something when you said Kroenke.
You always have to change things, man. Why can't you just stick to the routine?
No, 1 second. It's a very quick one. I don't have problems with Kroenke. They can stay and make money off of Arsenal, no problem, right? But do what you're supposed to do as owners. Make us competitive and make us win things. And you can stay, you can make money, do what you want, use Arsenal as a collateral, whatever. But make us compete. You can't not do that and then. Right, so I just want to clarify that. The other bit, I agree with Turkish. I think we can challenge for top 4. I think Man United have been. I'm shocked how poor they were in terms of transfer dealings. So they, I don't think they're going to be an airline top 4 team. And if we get lucky without injuries, I think Arteta is getting the best out of the current players he's got, and Thomas Partey would definitely improve this current Arsenal team. Potentially, we can finish 4th, I think, maybe, but we definitely can challenge for the top 4 now. If on January they can go and sign a creative midfielder, I think we'll be there.
Okay, I'm going to say top 4. I'm going to say top 4. I think Partey will get us. Give us that stability, that solidity we need, and the quick transition You know, like what was evident in the Liverpool game, the Premier League game, the serious one, right? We couldn't get out of our own half. Every time our midfielders did get the ball to feet, they couldn't move quick enough, make a decision quick enough, didn't have feet quick enough to get themselves out of trouble when there was a high press. Didn't have the physicality. And I think what Thomas Partey gives you is that physicality to be able to hold people off, turn defense into attack very quickly and drive at teams. And I think with the addition of Gabriel behind him and hopefully Uber in the middle, I want him back in. I want him in centre forward position. I think we're going to get top 4. Maybe I'm just being, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being optimistic, but that's where I'm going with this. But look, I would say on top of that, the other teams haven't really done that great, as you mentioned. United, Chelsea have bought a lot. They've got a lot to bed in one go. Chelsea. I don't think that's going to work anytime soon. It's going to take a bit of time. And the other teams like Wolves and teams like that have really improved. I mean, Everton's going to be a threat to us this season, I think, with what they've done. Carlo Ancelotti is doing a great job there. So there's a lot, there's a lot to consider. But I'm going to say top 4, boys. Are we going to do it this season? I really do think we're going to do it. But we're going to look back at this video in a couple of months, and I'm going to get ripped. I reckon that's what's going to happen to me. But look, anything else in the chat you want to bring up? Let us know. There are a couple of other things I wanted to touch on just before we close. There's only a couple of minutes, so I'm just going to throw a few Brucey bonuses in there. This international window during the COVID pandemic. How wise is that? I mean, we've seen a few players already. Tierney's been he's been put into quarantine for the next 14 days. Why, if there's a COVID pandemic, why are we sending players to play internationals? There's players from Germany and all that that'll come and meet everybody playing over here, go over there. There's a lot of travel involved. Is it even wise to do it during this period?
Asking me when we've just lost Kieran Tierney makes it an obvious no. It doesn't seem wise, At the same time, if we look at COVID outside of football and just look at the way, obviously we're in the UK, so look at the way the UK government have handled it. I can't say hand on heart that this thing is as dangerous as they're making it seem, is as worrying as they're making it seem.
That's a whole other matter, bro. That's a whole other
matter.
Yeah,
it is a whole other matter. I'm just saying I don't know because of the way the UK government have handled it. On one hand, you're telling us people will be allowed back in matches soon. On the same hand, you're telling us that we might need to go back in lockdown soon. It's like, which one are you working on? Which one is the truth? Which one is actually going on? So that is a whole other issue. But I think it is a problem. It is a problem. But what can we do? I mean, obviously with Liverpool, they lost Mane, they've lost Thiago. We can't complain too much about Tierney, considering the names there. Obviously, Tierney means a lot to us, like those players mean a lot to Liverpool. So it is a shame. But at the same time, the way COVID's been handled by many countries, but I'm in the UK, but the way it's been handled in the UK, it's farcical. So I look at the Kieran Tierney thing as a big blow.
Man, I went to Starbucks today with my mask on, and the 3 people serving people with the coffees had no masks on. So I've gone in with a mask, and everyone that they're giving coffees to, these guys have been breathing over all day.
Yeah.
Where is the logic? I don't get it. Here's another Brucey bonus question for you, Shaheen. These crazy results, very, very quickly, crazy results. Obviously, United losing to Spurs 6-1. Wolves beating Chelsea 5-2. Liverpool being beaten by Villa 7-2. What is that all about? Is that just freak stuff, or is that just is it the fact that wait? Is it the fact that there's no fans in the stadium just leveling things up?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's got anything to do with fans. Not results like this. It's got nothing to do with fans not being there. I think the sending off obviously affected the Man United game. I think Man United are not well. They're not a well-oiled machine at the moment. They're not working properly, and Tottenham took advantage of that. Liverpool game, I think Liverpool were a bit. I don't think they turned up. They thought we're just gonna turn up and roll these over. That was I think, mind you, quite a few of the goals were deflected off the a couple of the defenders and winning. I think there were one-offs. I don't think you're going to see Liverpool getting letting 7 again. But this is what Premier League is is exciting. You know, it's fantastic for the league. It's a good watch for everybody, for neutral, but not for the Liverpool fans or City, or especially Man United fans.
Who's this Ben Davies? Hey, Shaheen, bring this Ben Davies up that keeps putting in this bullshit. Come on, you fucking fuck off, Ben. Right? Oh, listen. What the fuck do you think of Tottenham? What do you think of Tottenham? Yeah. What are you doing in our chat? What are you doing in our chat, bro?
I don't blame you. I certain Arsenal podcasts that they do watch along on the Tottenham game. So a Tottenham fan coming in.
It's better off watching the pod. Well, it's better off watching a podcast with some decent signings. You know what they've done. Let's be honest. You know. So look, at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. There's going to be a lot more shows like this. Please subscribe, put your notifications on. You guys in Facebook, if you're watching on Gunner Social, come across the Arsenal Lounge, subscribe. There's going to be loads more shows like this. Hopefully we'll have Turkish and Lee Judges on Wednesdays. Love their insight already. We've got Graham Brooks on Sunday Surgery, looking at the games after, and you can come on and ask loads of questions regarding that. There's a very, very exciting bit of news for next Friday, so keep an eye out for the notifications. We've got a special guest coming on who's agreed to come on and join us here, so we'll let you know about that, Turkish off camera. Is there anything else you guys want to say? I mean, anything else you guys want to add? You know, all you guys in the chat, please keep joining us, supporting us. Old school Gooner, Tyrone Powell, Stan Kroenke guy, whoever you are, Ben Davis, fuck off, Ben Gunner D, all you guys, yeah. Keep watching us. Oi, Ben, if you subscribe and you drop in a few super chats, I'll tell you to fuck off some more. So anything else you guys want to say before we go?
For me, I just want to thanks my Turkish brother for coming on. And
thanks, Shaheen. Thanks, bro.
We've got the Turkish brother.
Relevant.
Man, thank you for coming.
It's nice we ain't got subtitles on here, brother. I haven't got the budget for that yet. Give me a break. Yeah? What he basically said is don't talk too much, you guys, yeah?
Don't be jealous, Lev. Don't be, you always be my Ozilized Turkish, man. Don't worry about it.
Oh, shut the fuck.
I know, Shaheen.
Look, he comes here, man. Sorry, bro. Sorry, Turkish. Go on, bro.
No, I know Shaheen wanted to have a little debate about Ozil today. We'll have that soon. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. The Shake Man Slur of YouTube over there, yeah, giving it large. So, guys, listen, this is the Arsenal Lounge. I'm Lavanja, Shaheen, my co-host, and obviously, Turkish, man. It's been great having you on. Great insight. There's been a lot of activity in the chat room. Man, I'm looking forward to having you on some more, bro. And please, yeah, you guys at home, like, subscribe, turn your notifications on. Turkish, you want to finish off with anything, bro?
No, man. Kroenke out. Ozil's done. Partey's not enough. Let's see what happens this season.
You heard it here first on the Real Talk, yeah? Wednesday, 7:30. Join us. Lee Judges will be on next week. We've got Graham Brooks on Sunday. Massive news for next Friday. I'm not going to say too much yet until it's all confirmed. Please join us, like, subscribe, notifications on. All you guys in Facebook, thanks for coming on. Let's keep this rolling. And thank you very much for joining us. Oh, we go. He's got one more. You always do this to me, man. What is it now?
You're not above us, my friend. I'll tell you that now for free.
Ben Davies, you know we are going to finish above you. Yeah, if you turn the table upside down, you knob. Jog on. Let's cut this off before I lose my temper with this Ben Davis. Peace out. We're the Arsenal